Hello, beautiful sisters. This is Ola Davis with another episode of the When Marriage Hurts podcast. This is episode number 82, and on this one, I want to talk about the reasons why we get maltreated, or the reasons why your husband might give, or I should say excuses rather. The excuses that your husband might give for maltreating you, or excuses that you might give for why your husband may be maltreating you. Now, I think a good one to listen to, if you haven't, is episode number 43. Episode number 43 is titled, "What If My Husband Grew Up in an Abusive Home?" If you haven't listened to that one, I recommend that you do. And then listen to this one, because I think they will go nicely together. So on episode number 43, I talked about, how a man growing up in an abusive home might turn out to be abusive towards their wife. And if that's the situation with you, how you should view that, how you should frame that. But that episode was specific to a man growing up in an abusive home. And then on this particular episode, I just want to talk in general about past traumas that might cause a man to deal treacherously with their wife, to maltreat their wife. When I coach women, and ladies have started accepting one-on-one coaching sessions, which I'm going to talk about later in this episode. But when I coach women in difficult marriages, or women experiencing whether covert abuse or overt abuse, a common theme that I find is that even though these women know that they shouldn't be treated the way they're being treated, they tend to have some kind of sympathy for their abusive husband, because they feel like, the reason is having so much trouble controlling his anger, or the reason why he lashes out at me is because he went through this thing or that thing. He's got PTSD from this and that experience that he hasn't gotten treated for, or just, a myriad of reasons that they give that they think kind of justifies or explains this man's behavior. And I always tell them the same thing. Whatever might be causing this guy to behave this way is not your problem. Now, is the man making it to be your problem? Yes. In fact, I'll say they don't only make it out to be your problem, they make it out to be your fault as well. They maltreat you and they blame you for making them, I'm putting that in quotes now, air quotes. They blame you for making them treat you horribly. Because they lack accountability, because they lack the ability to self-reflect. They lack the ability to say, yes, I might have had past trauma, whether growing up or even as an adult, but it doesn't justify my behavior towards you. They lack the ability to do that. So they project that guilt on you and blame you for their own poor behavior. Now, if you are that woman, that you are in that kind of situation where you know that this man has had some experiences, some past trauma in his life that might be contributing to the way he acts and behaves towards you and the children, you need to stop taking that responsibility. You need to drop that weight off of your shoulders. You need to stop being consumed about fixing him. Honey, it's not your job to fix him. It's not. It is his own job to find help. It's his own job to realize that whatever ails him is affecting his relationship, is affecting his marriage, is hurting the person that he vowed to love and cherish. And it's his own responsibility to go out there and find help. There's help available. We live in the information age. It's his own responsibility to find a book. It's his own responsibility to search, do Google searches. It's his own responsibility to go find a therapist to work with. If you find yourself trying to Google stuff for your husband, if you find yourself trying to find resources that your husband can tap into to help him with his issues, only that itself is still abuse. Because remember, abuse, the simplest definition of abuse that I like so much is that abuse is it's when you misplace responsibility. Abuse is not, it doesn't just happen when someone hits you or when they yell at you or call you names. Abuse is simply misplacing responsibility. It's misplaced responsibility. So it is their own responsibility to find help for what their problem is. And for them to find that help, they need to first acknowledge that they have a problem. So what is your own responsibility in this? And I think the reason we struggle with this as Christian women is because we have been groomed. It's been drilled into our brains essentially from an early age that our sole existence, the sole purpose for which we exist is to help our husbands. They bring in the Genesis story and they say, God created the woman to be a helper. So we feel like we have to save this person. We have to help them. We have to, and only no, we don't have to. As a matter of fact, we really can't. You can't save anybody. If you had what it took to save someone, we wouldn't need Jesus. You would be our Jesus. Okay? The reason Jesus came was because you and I, lacked the capacity to save anybody. So we need to quit trying to be Jesus. Okay? And let this man take responsibility for his own actions and find the help that he needs. The best you can do is support him as he takes the lead in finding help for himself. You can only support him. Okay? Now, all that energy that you're trying to put into helping your husband, saving your husband, finding him things he can read or listen to, or somewhere he can go for counseling, all that effort that you're putting into that, it's time to turn around and put it into yourself. Put all that effort into your own self-development. Put that effort into your own healing. You search out ways you can get help. Start treating yourself like a human being. Stop neglecting yourself while trying to take care of your marriage. Honey, Jesus didn't die for your marriage. He died for you. When God thinks of you, He's not thinking of you as Mrs. whatever your last name is. He thinks of you as His daughter. Alright? So it's time to put all of that energy back into your own self. And what happens when you start doing that is that you will start healing those parts that your husband's behavior damaged. You will start to show up as a better mom for your kids if you have kids. If you don't have kids, you show up better for, people around you, people that you love, your friends, your family. You show up better for yourself. You are able to show up better for other people because you have taken the time to show up for yourself. You have a full cup from which to draw to nourish others. If your husband is not ready to do what needs to be done to get help for himself, then you will stop taking his maltreatment. The more you develop your own self and you begin to heal from the pain of your past, the less you would be able to tolerate your husband's bad behavior. The less it would be able to cause you damage because you just won't have it. So do not lose yourself in trying to save your husband. It's an endless pursuit that leads nowhere and does nobody any good and drains you of energy. Put all of that energy back into yourself. Okay, I hope that helps someone. That is the much I can take on this episode. We are on Facebook as a private group, When Marriage Hurts. And of course, there's the Instagram account, which is also When Marriage Hurts. The Instagram account, of course, is not public. It's just a place where I make posts every now and then, and people can comment and stuff. But if you want to be a part of a private group, then it's the Facebook one, which goes by the same name, When Marriage Hurts. Now, I mentioned earlier that I started coaching women that are in difficult marriages and just need some clarity. So I have some limited spots open right now. If you are considering having a one-on-one session with me, you can find the booking link on the Instagram page, which is When Marriage Hurts. You'll find it right there in the bio. The booking link is actually calendly.com/Ola Davis 360. If you're familiar with the booking, is it an app or software? I'm not sure what it's called, but it's Calendly. So if you go to calendly.com/Ola Davis 360, you're able to book a one-on-one session with me. Or if you don't remember that URL, you can just go to our Instagram account, When Marriage Hurts, and in the bio you would find the booking link there. Now, what do I do for women on this session? If you are at a point where you are hurting, you're confused, you realize that what you're experiencing really is abuse, and you just feel stuck because you don't know what to do, and you just feel all this weight on your shoulders, you're having trouble finding clarity as to how to move forward, then this session is for you. If you're struggling to respond to, the tough conversations or the painful conversations that you have with your husband, and you don't know how to respond and how to break out of that cycle of, endless conversations that lead nowhere, this one-on-one session is for you. So ladies, I do hope you have a wonderful week. Please do try to do something for yourself this week. Just one thing that is for you and nobody else. Okay? All right. I want you to know that God loves you so much, and it was never a part of his plan for you to suffer in this way. Have a wonderful week, ladies.